Hello, welcome to this video from diagonalmove.com. Today I'm going to take a quick look at a game called Attack of the 50 Foot Colossi. It's a game I do enjoy very much, and I've featured it a few times on the website. So what I'd like to do is just highlight a few of the reasons why I enjoy playing this game so much. Quick bit about the game. It is a Hex and Counter wargame designed by Herman Luttman and published by Tiny Battle Publishing. The copy that you see in front of you at the moment is actually a homemade print and play version, and so the components are probably not going to be of the same quality that you would get in the retail version. I haven't seen the retail version, so I can't compare, but just be aware that this is my own homemade copy. So why do I enjoy this game? There's a few reasons. The first one is the theme. I'm a relatively new wargamer, and the theme is very approachable, and essentially it's giant space rocks called the Colossi tribes fighting against space marines. So very 1950s B movie, very silly, and that sense of humour runs through the entire game. So for example, the special weapons of this special operations unit on the screen there, it's called the Chiseler, and that will chip away at the Colossi tribe that it's used against. The boring bit is a giant drill bit that can be wheeled up against the side of a Colossi to drill into the side of that unit, literally drill holes into that Colossi unit. And as a relatively new wargamer, this theme is much more approachable for me personally than some of the more historical themed wargames out there. While I do greatly like the history and the historical side of many of the Hex and Counter war games that I've played, I do sometimes find the historical accuracy somewhat overwhelming, and as a new wargamer, I do still have a tendency to go for games that are perhaps easier to play as a game rather than a direct historical simulation of actual events. So this sci-fi theme is very much appreciated by myself, and I believe there's actually a series of these games, all with similar themes, set in a sci-fi universe. So I'll probably be checking those out next. The second thing that I like is to do with the chip pull system, and anyone who's played Herman Luttman's other games, including At Any Cost, will probably be familiar with the blind sword system, where you draw event chits from the cup. They're mixed in with the chits from unit activation and so on. In Attack of the 50 Foot Colossi, the event chits are the only thing drawn from the cup, and they can have some really quite wild chaotic effects. So for example, the tectonic eruption will change the landscape of the map, and the chain lightning will be lightning that will strike first one unit and then another. The anti-gravity wave alters movement. The dust storm is a giant dust storm that affects line of sight, and the Honouring Our Ancestors chit there is a particular favourite of mine, which indicates the Colossi tribes taking a break from combat and having a national holiday, which is just, again, very in keeping with that silly sci-fi theme. And the final thing that I do enjoy so much about this game is the way the combat works against the redstone, not just the redstones, but the Colossi tribes as a whole. I'll use the redstone tribe as an example. The combat factors used on the chip, so that 3 there, that's the number of dice rolled, and that is the number needed. That's the defensive number. So you'd roll 3 dice. Anything for this particular chit above a 3, so 4, 5, or 6, will result in a hit. And if your heavy weapons unit rolled 5 dice, you need at least 3 of those to hit that redstone unit. Once you have hit the redstone colossi, and it takes a loss, you flip the counter, and that particular chit is a bit weaker. But if you do that again, and you actually remove that layer of the boulder, it reveals a new counter. And quite often, what you'll find, these are stacked randomly, is that the new chit is actually more powerful than the one you've just defeated. So there is the potential for these units to become stronger as the game goes on. And that is a really interesting way to deal with a relatively low number of enemy units in the game. I think there's only about 6 different tribes in total. You only activate the tribes according to the activation cards. So if I just show an example of that, you don't activate all the tribes in every round. They're activated in order, and if your tribe is not featured in that order, then they do not activate this turn. So again, it adds an extra element of some uncertainty when facing the AI of the game. The other thing the tribes can do, if let's go back to the redstones, you have the special ranged attacks. They can do a close combat attack called a rolling thunder, so when a Colossi tribe is adjacent to a marine unit, it can do a rolling thunder attack, which is close combat, quite a powerful close combat attack. And then it will have a special ability. So the MS on this chit stands for Medusa Stare, and it will be a paralysing gaze, that will paralyse anyone who is hit by it. And then they will also do what's called a pumice ejection, which is where they launch boulders from their body in the form of gravel, and gravel acts as its own separate unit, and you reveal it at a certain point in activation phase, and it will do different things depending on what it says on the chip. So for example, it may do nothing, which is the chalk, or it may explode, injuring everything around it. And again, it adds that layer of uncertainty to facing this relatively small number of enemies. Each of the tribes has a different special attack. For example, the Blackstones will fault tunnel, which is where they will simply relocate to the side of the map and may attack a unit that was previously thought to be safe. The Brownstones over here will do a can't remember what that one is. You have an avalanche attack by the Yellowstones, and that again will be a ranged attack. The Tombstones are quite special. They will only appear once you have eliminated a few other tribes. They're the ghosts of previous tribes, and these Tombstone Colossi can use the attacks of any other Colossi, so they're really quite a dangerous, unpredictable foe. And yeah, that's hopefully given a very brief overview of some of the things that I do enjoy very much about this game, which is Attack of the 50-Foot Colossi. And thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time.